Hey, rail fans. I was driving to a car show and I went over an overpass and I looked down and I saw this really long ass train. And I drove, I swear, about 2 miles from that overpass. It's gotta be. And I turned right here to go to the car show and I looked down these railroad tracks and lo and behold, there's the front of the train. And I want to go down here and take a shot of this thing. Check it out. It is a long little locomotive. I have no idea how long it is, but really, yeah, maybe that is the overpass. If you can't see it, but I think I see an overpass. When I was a kid, man, we'd play on the railroad tracks behind my house. Rock fights every day of the week, rock fights. One day we quit having rock fights. I mean, we'd go down there and we'd wait for other kids to come by and we'd just start throwing rocks at them. And they'd run or they'd start throwing them back. CSX. And in the process, you know, sometimes we'd win, sometimes we'd lose. One day we got into a fight with some kids and we were running back and forth throwing rocks at each other, and one of those kids picked up a rock that, you know, one of those kind that takes up your whole hand, and threw it and hit the side of my friend's in the head. And that kid, my friend, wound up in the hospital for a couple of days, and nobody got arrested or anything like that. And we all decided nah, and we stuck from there and just throwing apples and snowballs and pears at each other. Yeah, that's the overpass. Maybe you can see it. I'll stop walking and I'm gonna go down a little further. I'm not gonna walk all the way to the overpass. That's too far. I'm gonna shut up now. You guys can enjoy the train. Last thing I'm going to say, I worked for 17 years at the J.R. Dupree Signal Shop on Liberty Street, in East Liberty Street, Savannah, Georgia. I was the security guard and the janitor. And that signal shop repairs the switches, you know, that turn the tracks left and right, and the up and down arms. And they build the boxes that tell, you know, it's all communicated now by, you know, computers, communicated by computers. That's a new word for you. And it was a very interesting job. It was probably the best job I had in my life, not because of the pay, but because I was out there every night. Well, not every night, but I was out there at night all alone, and it was a blast. Nobody bugged me. Had some strange encounters out there though over the 17-year period. I'm almost tempted to walk to that bridge or overpass. I might do it. This is better than a car show. standing on the track, but I'm not gonna walk it. I don't think I can walk a yard on that anymore. We used to run on them when we were kids. We'd get up there on 2 feet and just start running down them rails and see who could go the furthest. I gotta walk to that. I'm gonna do the whole walk, folks. Hang in there if you like this. Check out the graffiti, the tagging, whatever you want to call it. Don't get to do something like this every day. See these things here? It's from the old gum trees. We got a couple where I live at. They are pain in the ass to mow up and clean up. Cement factory over here. They are building and building and building. Georgia is a boom state. The house is going up so fast, it's incredible. Everybody's leaving the Northeast. Taxes. Massachusetts. Tell me about it. BNSF. I know BN stands for Burlington Northern. Thank you. He just let me know a train's coming. So we got a train that's gonna go by here in a minute. This should be awesome. It's ways down there. This is great. Santa Fe, Burlington Northern Santa Fe. I don't know why it took me so long to think that. You know, if you've watched my videos, you know, me and my wife also own some hobby shops, and part of our hobby shop was, of course, you know, N-scale, HO, and all. We even sold G-scale stuff. And so I used to know a lot of the road names, but I don't remember them now. This thing's coming fast. It's probably, you know, I can't even think, you know, the passenger thing. They haul that. Atchison, Topeka, and the Santa Fe. Woo woo. Yeah, we sold all kinds of, you know, the train sets, rolling stock, stuff to repair them, all the buildings, everything you needed to build a little layout to a giant layout. Mostly HO. It's something not too many people mess with anymore. It's an old hobby from really the 50s and before. It was still big in the 60s, but handheld devices is the hobby today. Yeah, man. We're going to go all the way to the end. I don't know why they're sitting here, but must be something up that way that's keeping them from going. If you're still hanging in here, congratulations. Yeah, see what I'm saying? This cement plant. Yeah, that's all stuff for sewage pipes. They're gonna run out of water in Georgia. If I was younger, I'd just wait until the prices dropped way down in the Northeast, and I'd sell my house here for a bundle and go buy a house up there cheap. Now, house I grew up in as a kid, my mother and father bought it for $18,000. You want it now, it's like $600,000. So you sell that house up there for $600,000. You move down here, you can buy a really nice house for $300,000. I'm talking, big, more than twice the size of the house I grew up in, and have yourself $300,000 left over. That ain't a bad thing. Yeah, I looked down the track when I went over that, and I said, wow, that thing's long. And it goes, I don't know how far it goes past that bridge, but we're going to find out. I'm at the 12-minute mark. I'm going to pause this until I get down to the bridge. Started up so it wouldn't time out on me. When I was a kid, same deal. You always had these little streams running through that would eventually end up into a bigger, like I'll call it pond, small, and we'd go running around in them. No fish, but catching frogs. By the way, all the stuff I'm telling you about, I was doing when I was 5, 6, 7, 8. It was like about 8, 9 when the kid friend, his name was Ralph Highland, got bopped off right in the temple with that big ass rock. And, we'd ride our bikes all over the place. We're smoking all that crap. And it's the way it was. We're having so much fun. I don't know. I don't think kids have that kind. I know they don't. Not some kids still do, but the majority, I don't know. I can't remember what you called these things, but they weren't popular. Hardly anybody wanted them for a model railroad layout. I have no idea who paints all these box cars, but that's a ton of money. If this train wasn't sidelined here, those would be green. That's one of those signal boxes I was talking about. Houses, when one gets hit by a train or like a tractor trailer rig, they'll call it a knockdown. And guys, I'd get a phone call to have the gates opened at the signal shop, because they'd have to come in there and build one real quick, because each one is different depending, on the place that it's at. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, boom, got a knockdown. Crews coming in, they'd get in there, and they could take them maybe 24 hours, and then depending, because the signal shop's in Savannah, Georgia, and that knockdown might have been up in they went all the, CSX is say up in why can't I think of a good state? I'll just say New Jersey, yeah. And and they'd have to, and a guy would come in with one of those hot shot things, and they'd load it on, and they'd zoom up to New Jersey, and then they'd have people waiting up there to install it. The guys driving them up there, they were doing good. Still walking, you see cement plants. I did own some stock in CSX Railroad, and I went to one of their annual stockholders meetings. They were looking at me like, what are you doing here? I had like 10 shares of the stuff. And the people there, they were all multi-millionaires. And the guy, they was the keynote speaker. His name was Snow, and he was the CEO at the time. This is during, I believe, Papa Bush administration. Bush Jr., I guess, administration. But he got bought out, and they gave him like $163 million. This is quite a few years ago. They gave the Snow to leave the railroad. They says, oh, this is so that when you leave the railroad, you won't go away empty-handed. $163 million, something like that. And he became the Secretary of the Treasury under one of the Bushes. Ain't making that up. The reason I said that was at that meeting, they had other people there, and they all said this. They said, agates, rubble, Bonnie rubble, agates. That's where the money's at. Because they said, this is, I don't know, 20 years ago, maybe more. They said, we're going to start redoing all the highways infrastructure of America. And they need rocks to do it. Rocks, grind them up, whatever. The guy was saying that the money was in the rocks. And it would keep the stock up. And truthfully, I was there and I just observed the place. And pretty much everybody there was all walking around dressed like they were at a funeral. And I saw some of the weirdest people. And only one person ever came up and talked to me. And I guess they were just curious. And the guy asked me a few questions. He was friendly, and I thought, oh, wow, somebody's friendly. And after he left, I realized you just were a spy coming up to find out who I was. And they held that big meeting. CSX owned the property at the time. I don't know if they still do. It was in West Virginia, and it was this big, giant golf course mansion that was built probably around 1900, and it's where they'd built this gigantic underground bomb shelter, so that like if World War III had broken out, they started building it under the Eisenhower administration. The people, all the senators and congressmen they'd go there, and they'd be way deep underground. They actually gave us a tour of the place. They had a hospital underground, you name it. They had everything for these people to survive underground. And this was built, it was finished probably as Kennedy was walking into the White House. So you can imagine what these guys got today for when the SHTF happens. And well, we're at the overpass. And I'm gonna run down there. This is it. They might not let me upload this thing, it's so long. The leg bone's connected to the ankle bone. Well, this is the end of the road for me. And I'm about to turn around and head back. You can see how much further that thing goes that way. And I gotta walk. You can't even see the end of this thing now. The other way. Everybody, if you stayed to the end and they let me put this whole darn thing up, thanks a million for watching. I hope you liked it. Hey, subscribe, share it, please.